Okay. So in budget, so why we use this particular budget module? For every expenses, we have certain budget. If it is exceed that particular budget, then it will throw you a error message stating that the budget has been exceeded for this particular expenditure. Do you want to purchase? Still, you want to purchase this particular, but still you want to do this particular expenses transaction, then either you need to transfer the budget or you have to proceed with exceeding the budget transaction. Okay, so how we will do this kind of transaction? So with the help of basic budget setup and budget control configuration. So if we have enabled these two concepts under the budget, then you can do these transactions. Okay, so we will see one by one. Okay, so for that, first we need to configure certain basic things for the budget. So let's see what we need to configure. For that, let me go to the budget module. Okay, under budget module, setup, basic budgeting. So I have budgeting parameter. Okay, at here by default your number sequence will be, by default it will be populated, auto populated. When you generate the number sequence for all the modules, it will be auto generated over here. Okay, so you need to make sure whether the number sequence has been mapped or not for this particular module. So that is the first priority which you will check under the parameter. Okay, once this is done, the second thing is the budget journal. This particular budget journal by default it will be a budget. Okay, and you will create from the GL. Okay, so second thing, again you will go back to the budget. So we have budget model. So this is the budget model which you will create. So budget model is nothing but the year, fiscal year, in which fiscal year you are creating the budget. So you will give the budget model as financial year 2025, like that. Okay, for each year you can create individual budget model. Okay, so this is the budget model. You will simply create on new and you will update the model, like for example 2025 and name as 2025 and you will click on save. Okay, and after updating the budget model we have budget codes. The budget codes is nothing but what kind of budget it is, so it will be classified based on the budget codes. So mostly we will utilize over here, I mean in any industries, mostly we will utilize original budget. Okay, we'll have uh, revised budget, we have carry forward budget, and we have transfer budget. Okay, transfer, carry forward, original, and there is a revision, sorry, adjustment. There is also transfer budget. So mostly these are the four transaction types which will be available, and carry forward budget is mostly utilized during the year end. Like for example, if we have any purchase or expenses which is open on the prior financial years. Like for example, in 2024, I have couple of the purchase order which is booked and which having the budget, I need to carry forward this particular budget to next year. So how we can configure, that is based on the carry forward budget. Okay, so let's see how this. So let's see how this transaction will be posted based on these budget codes. Okay, to create budget codes, we'll click on new over here. Okay, and you will give the budget code name, description, and you will select over in this particular drop down what kind of budget it is. Okay, after defining the budget code, so we have to go to the budget control. Under budget control we have budget cycle. Okay, so in budget cycle, what we will do, we will create a new budget cycle by clicking on new, and we will give the name as, like for example, 2025. Okay, and you will select the respective calendar, like for example it is a fiscal year. And if you want to calculate for whole year, you will specify the number of fiscal periods, like for example I have 12 fiscal periods, or if you have one, so it will calculate for each individual month over here. So after clicking on save, if you click on add cycle, so what will happen, you will give as 1, and at here you will select the January date. By default it will give the end date. Okay, similarly if you add a new cycle, again you will select as number 2, and if you select the or if you update the date as 01/01/2025, so it will calculate by default the end date as December 31st 2025. So if you specify the fiscal period as 1, then it will calculate each individual in each individual month as individual period. Okay, so like for example I'm creating another one. Sorry, like for example you can see at here I am selecting the fiscal year, and I am specifying the number of fiscal period as 1. So in this case, if I create any budget cycle, so it will take based on month. Like for example, I am operating the month as 01/01/2025. You can see by default it will take the end date of the respective month. So that is the difference between how we define the budget cycle time span. Okay, so after defining the budget cycle time span, the core configuration setup will be started, that is the budget control configuration. Okay, so far what we have seen, for so far we have seen the budget control parameter, budget model, budget code, and budget cycle. Okay, so other than that, one more thing is there, that is the dimensions for the budget. So these particular dimensions for the budget will be utilized, like for example on what dimension base you want to define the budget. Okay, now you can see, so this is my chart of account, this is the budget dimensions. Okay, these are the things which I can utilize for the budget. Okay, if you don't want to utilize any one of them, like for example I don't want item group, so you can drag this side. It means that it will be go back to the chart of accounts, so from the budget dimension it will be not applicable. Okay, so after that you will click on OK. Now let me go to the budget control configuration. Okay, now this budget control configuration, what I will do, let me click on draft. Yeah, so at here the first thing we will select the respective chart of account, I'm sorry, accounting structure. So for every legal entity we will create the accounting structure and will map at the ledger setup. So we will select the respective accounting structure over here. So on the basis, it will calculate the uh, it will calculate your budget, and if the budget is available, it will carry forward. If the budget is not available, it will throw you error message, or it will over allow you to post the transaction. Okay, so at here, once you have selected the respective accounting structure, so at here you need to select the respective dimensions which has been selected for the budget control configuration. Like for example, at here I am selecting only the main account and department budget control dimensions. Okay, so after selecting these dimensions, so if you scroll down, there is a defined default budget control parameter. So at here you want to specify the budget for financial year or financial period to year to date or physical period. Okay, so you will select by default as physical year. Okay, the fiscal year, in the sense that here what will happen, the budget will be applied for the whole year, and based on that the budget can be validated. Okay, and second thing, in the cycle time span, you will select the respective budget cycle, that is FY 2025. Okay, and if you have any budget manager, you will specify the budget manager in this particular drop down list. You will select the respective person, like for example admin is the budget manager, so I will select the admin. Okay, and this particular budget threshold limit is, at here it is defined as 90%. Okay, like for example, if your budget has been reached maximum 90%, then it will give you a error warning message stating that the budget has been exceeded, reached based on the threshold limit. We are processing this particular transaction. Okay, so the threshold limit at here we have given as 90%. Okay, so this is the basic definition parameter which will be utilized under the budget control configuration. So once the defined parameter has been done, then we will move to the next tab, that is the over budget processing. Any doubts so far? Okay, so in our budget processing, we will specify one of the user group. Okay, so we have created one user group as over budget, and in this particular user group we have added the couple of users. Okay, and after adding this particular user group in this particular selection, in this particular drop down selection, okay, so at here I have to name the user group name. By default it will be populated based on once you have selected it. Okay, so at here in budget over budget option, so at here I have total 3 options. Okay, you can see one is the prevent over budget processing, allow over budget processing, prevent processing over budget threshold. Okay, the prevent budget processing is nothing but it will block you once the budget has been exceeded. Okay, the third option, prevent processing the budget threshold limit, it will process the budget based on the threshold limit. If the value is available and it is included with the threshold limit value, then it will allow you to post. Okay, the second option is nothing but the even though budget is exceeded, it will allow you to post the transaction. Okay, so in interview they may ask you what is the budget over budget permissions, so what are the what options you have. So you can say we have prevent budget, we have allow over budget, we have prevent budget based on the threshold limit. Okay, so once you have updated this over budget permission, next we have budget fund available. Okay, so at here mostly we will select the budget fund, uh, original budget, revised budget, transfer budget, okay, actual expenditure. These all are not required. So actual expenditure and including carry forward. Okay, so these are the budget options, available budgets which we will select over here. Okay, original budget, revised budget, transfer budget, including carry forward and actual expenditure. So our formula will be, these all will be sum and it will be minus. Okay, now you can see at here the budget fund available equal to original budget, carry forward budget, budget revision plus budget transfer minus actual budget plus carry forward budget and budget revision, carry forward encumbrance. Okay, so this we will see at the end, how it will be carry forward during the our purchase order year end close process is there, which I have said that this I will explain at the end of the all the modules. So there are two processes in GL. One is the year end close, another one is the purchase order year end close process. Okay, so this is the things which will be available under the budget defined, available budget fund available. So once you have given these particular records, checkbox has been checked, and after that you will click on documents and journal. So in documents and journal you will check respectively, so where the budget fund transaction will be validated. You can see we have a different transactions level where you can validate your budget. Now you can see we have a two columns. One is including budget, check in at line level. So including budget, you can see we have a daily journal, and also if I want to include at the line level, so I will check box is check. Okay, and similarly for purchase requisition I will select it, and for purchase order also I will select it. Okay, so once you will check these particular check boxes, okay, it means that for this transaction it will validate your budget accounting entries. So mostly we will select over here for the daily journals, purchase order, purchase requisition, and vendor invoicing. For these transactions mostly we will select both the checkbox, including the budget control and check for all. Okay, rest all are optional. If you want to, depends on the industry basis, we will check this checkbox. Okay, most commonly we will use it. One is the invoice journal. Okay, another one is the purchase requisition, purchase order, daily journal, which will be utilized on daily basis. Okay, after that we have assigned budget model. So this is the core budget model, which is most important. So at here we will click on new, and we will select our time span. Our time span is uh, financial year 2025, and you will select the respective financial year, that is 2025, and by default that period will be start date and date will be populated, and you will select the respective budget model. Okay, so once you have selected this particular respective assigned budget model, next we will go to the create budget control rules. Okay, so at here this is the main budget control rules. So what we will define over here, okay, in this particular budget control rules you will specify your expense account, and based on that it will be triggered. Like for example, at here I am adding a new to showcase you. Like for example, I am defining as expenses, and you will click on add. So at here in this particular expenses, So at here, whatever the main account you are defining, on those account it will be checked the budget. Like for example, at here I'm adding the new criteria, and I'm defining if the main account is begin with at 6, and I have given the asterisk symbol, and I have clicked on add criteria. Another criteria I am giving it, and if you want to specify any department, you can specify. So currently I have specified only one, that is the uh, begins with at 6. So when I updated this begins with 6, you can see the criteria is defined on the budget control rule represent the dimension combination is already in use. Okay, use the existing combination. It means that if I delete this particular EX, you can see we have a two selling expenses and training expenses. Okay, so in these two you can see the main account is begin with 6 series, and even the training expenses, one of the respective main account has been defined. So because of that, if I'm creating any new expenses with 6 series, it's giving me an error message stating that it's already used. Okay, let me add a new. Okay, so at here what I am doing, I'm adding a new criteria. Main account begins with 7. Okay, and also you can see that we have again budget control properties. So my budget control property is financial year 2025, and you will select the time span the same, FY 2025. Okay, and the budget manager by default it will be populated from there. Okay, so once you have defined this budget control rule, and you straightly go back to the activate budget model, sorry, activate budget control. So no need to select the main account. So this particular selection of main account is nothing but this is an also optional, like for example, if you want to define the on individual main account basis instead of all the fixed asset, then you can utilize the selection of main account. And we have defined budgeted group. So this is also one of the control configuration. Like for example, you may have the main ledger account instead of sub ledger account. So currently at here, in the selection of main account, we are defining on the sub ledger account basis. Okay, and at here in budget control rules, at here we are defining the complete uh, main accounts. And at here in the budget groups, so we have at the primary account, like for example the main ledger account, so we will define the budget on the main ledger account. Okay, and even if the budget is not available on the expense account, it will validate with the group account and it will be posted. So next we have defined message level. So in defined message level, so we can ignore to whom we need to, like for example, uh, there is a over budget group is there. So if I enable this particular toggle as if I enable this particular checkbox as yes, then what will happen for these particular users, it will not trigger any notification or any I mean, if it has been exceeded, so this particular notification will not be applicable for this for these persons. Okay, so currently I'm enabling as no, and after that we have active budget control. So at here we will click on active budget control. We'll click on activate, and it will be asking you, do you want to activate the budget control? You will click on yes, and activation budget control configuration will be enabled. and you can run in batch job if you click on this particular batch job as yes. Okay, or else you can directly click on activate, so the activation will be done on the front end itself. So once the budget control has been activated, so you can see turn on or turn off the budget control. So at here we should always be turn on. You can see the budget control is turned on to create the budget accounting entries. Okay, if it is turned off, even though if you update the account budget for those particular main account, it will be not reflection in the respective budget control accounts. So it should be always turned on. Okay, so once the budget control configuration is done, so far we have seen the setup part. Now let's see our core operational part. So how we will define the budget, and how it will be uh, calculated your expenses, whether it is exceeded or within the budget limit, we will see now. Okay, so before going to that, let me go to the actual versus budget. So let me check if we have defined any budget for prior during this particular year for any one of the expense account. So we have given the main account and department. So let me select the main account and department combination. Let me create new financial dimension main account and department. As we are able to see only uh, main account. There is main account and department dimension is not there. So let me go to the general ledger module. Okay, under chart of account, dimensions, financial dimension sets. Okay, so at here let me create those combination. So let me give,
Gautam sir,
yeah,
without updating the certain budget amount, how can it come through?
it will not come through. I'm checking if anything we have defined earlier. I mean, this is the demo instance, right? So I'm checking. I'm picking one of the main accounts so that I can showcase you the complete process, how we will update
Yeah.
the register entries, those things. I'm just checking randomly. Main account and department.
So, click on got it.
Select the financial year FY 2025. Okay, and I've clicked on apply parameter. So currently there is no budget has been defined for the current year. So we will see the complete budget process, how we can define it. Just give me a minute. I've just created the new financial dimension set, right? So for that the balance is getting created. So after that we will do the transactions. Just give me a minute. Let me check the balance has been created or not. So system admin, batch job. You can see it is we have for 6 series. These are the main accounts. One is 600, 180, and 18170. So for these two expenses it has been created. Okay, now we will create budget register entry for one of the main account, and we will see how the accounting impact, I mean how the financial transaction, how we will check the budget. So we will see in detail. Okay, so let me make the duplicate tab. Okay, now to create budget register entry, for that I need to navigate to the budget module. Under budget module we have budget register entries. Okay, in terms we call as budget register entries and budget accounting entries, both are same. Okay, so you will come over here in this particular form, and you will click on new, and once you have clicked on new, the budget register entry form will be open. So at here we need to select the budget model. Like for example, the budget model is financial year 2025, and you will select the respective budget code. Like for example, my budget code is original budget. So whenever you do the first uh, every year, during the first month, what we will do, we will import the budget, that is the original budget for 2025. I mean the budget balance for 2025. Even if you see any parliament session also, when a new year going to be start, for that we will define the budget. So this is the my new budget for upcoming year, and which will be effective from so and so date. Okay. So after defining the budget model and budget cycle, we have to click on lines, that is budget accounting lines, entry lines. So after adding a line, so you need to provide the start date. Like for example, the budget will be provided on month start date itself. Like for example, I'm giving the month start date as 1st Feb, and accounting structure you need to select as the P&L, and you will select the dimension value, the main account starting with the 6 series. Okay, let's example, let here I'm selecting the uh, main account has repair and maintenance expenses. Okay, business unit is not required, but I require the department dimension. So at here I'm selecting the department dimension as sales and marketing. Okay, so once we have selected the department dimension, after that you can update the amount. Like for example, the budget of this particular month I'm giving as 5,000, and you can give that particular expenses, month expense, I mean you can give, you can name the expenses year name, or you can comment if you have anything about related to this particular expenses, you will comment over here. Okay, after that you will click on save the record, and if you have any workflow, so you can submit to the workflow. Otherwise you can click on update balance. Okay, so once you have clicked on the update balance, what will happen, the budget register entries has been posted for this particular main account and department dimension, and the budget value is 5,000. Okay, now you can see the transaction has been completed. After update balance, the budget register entry has been posted. There will be no financial impact for the budget register entries. Okay, but you can track based on this particular budget how much expenditure I have posted during that particular period. Now in another tab already I have opened the actual versus budget. So this is one of the inquiry form, and you can also say that this is one of the report form. Okay, so once I click on apply parameter again, okay, so this is the expense account which we have created now, and now you can see the revised budget, and which is available as 5,000, and the actual budget is nothing but whatever the expenses expenditure we have booked, and it will show you that over here. So currently there is no expenditure which I have booked, so that was the reason it is blank. Okay, now if I do any transaction, like for example, let me go to the journal. Okay, I'm going to the journal accounting entries, I mean journal entries. So at here I am creating one of the daily journal. Okay, let me click on new, and let me select journal and lines. Now at here what I am doing, I am selecting the same expense, which is the repair and maintenance. So at here I'm selecting repair and maintenance, There is no business unit. I am selecting the department as 22, that is the sales and marketing. So after selecting this, let's imagine I am giving the debit amount as my expenditure amount as 10,000. Okay, and at here let me select my offset account as cash in hand. Okay, so at here I have given the amount as 10,000. Okay, now once I have clicked on save, okay, now you can see there will be a error message. You can see at drop down there is a budget check is not performed. Okay, so you will go to the functions and we have budget check and error and warning. So you can see there is no budget check has been performing on this particular transaction level. Okay, so let me go back. Let me go back to the budget control configuration. We need to check one more thing. Activate budget control is turned on. Okay, assign budget model, that is also fine. We have given the daily journal as yes. Purchase order yes. Purchase requisition as yes. Vendor invoice as yes. Reservation. Just give me a minute. Here the budget control is not working on this daily journal. Let me recreate another one. I found it. The reason why the budget control configuration is not applied on this particular main account. Okay, I will show you. Now you can see there is a defined budget control rules. Let me click on draft. Okay, so we have selling expenses, and you can see the main account starting with is including between 601 200 and 601 400. Okay, the entry which we have booked, the budget register entry which we have booked, that is 600 200. Okay, so which is not falling in the in between of this particular range, and because of that the budget validation is not done on that particular main account. Okay, so let me change this value as 6000. Okay, and now let me say go back to the activate budget. I believe now it will work. So let me reselect the repair and maintenance and department, and now let me give the amount. Okay, now you can see we have received error message. The budget, this is the voucher number, exceeded the budget fund available, and the dimension is by 10,000. The budget group or budget dimension, the value is 10,000 USD only. Okay, for more like this you will get an error message. For more information, what you can do, you can go to the functions and you can click on budget check and error and warning message, and you can see the budget check is failed, the budget available fund is exceeded. Okay, the over budget is 10,000 and the budget threshold limit is 10,000 and it has been exceeded. So what we will do, we will create a with new main account, and then we will see the transaction. As I already posted one of the transaction, that might be the reason it is getting exceeded 100%. Okay, so what we will do, let me create another budget control configuration, another budget main account. Okay, and we will see the complete transaction. Like for example, before that let me go back to the uh, main account and department, and now let me select the financial year 2025. So I am opening a new budget register entry. So let me click on new, and let me select the budget model, let for example 2025, and let me select the budget code original, and let me add two lines, 0101 2025. So this is for the month of January. So I am giving one of the main account. So let's imagine I am giving the main account has other miscellaneous expenses, and the department I am giving as finance, and at here I am giving the amount as 10th. Let's imagine 1500 for January, and let me add another month, that is 0201 2025. $600 $150. So for this month I am giving 5,000. So after updating the budget register entry, let me click on update balance. Okay, so for this particular main account, that is 600 150, total budget is having 6500. Okay, if I go to the actual versus budget, if I click on apply parameter again, and if I filter with that particular main account starting with 6 series, now you can see this is the main account which we have defined, and we have the revised budget is 6500, and actual amount there is nothing is there. Okay, now if I book the transaction, like for example if I book this particular main account entries, like for example let me go to the GL and let me create new journal entry. So at here I'm selecting the journal entry lines. So at here I'm selecting my expense account, that is 600 150 other expenses, and I'm selecting the department as finance, and I'm giving the amount, let's imagine I'm giving the amount as 3000. Okay, and let me select my offset account. Okay, so I have selected my offset account. Now if I if I run my budget check, okay, budget check and error and message, so there is no issue with this particular transaction, as there is the budget is available, and you can see the budget check is passed over here. You can see at down the budget check is passed. The reason behind is it is within the limit. You can see we have this particular transaction of 6500, which is my available budget, and you can see the budget is available, I mean based on the particular budget, so I am doing the transaction for 3000. So it is allowing me, it is within the budget, and the budget check is passed. So once I have post this particular transaction, okay, I am posting the transaction. The transaction has been posted. Now if I go to the actual versus budget report, and let me refresh this particular page, let me click on apply parameter again. Yeah, now for this particular expense account we have defined the budget as 6500, and 3000 we have utilized it, and you can see the utilized percentage also. And also you can see there is a budget accounting entries and journal accounting entries. So if you click on journal accounting entries, it will display what are the way of consumption of doing the entries. That particular voucher will be updated over here. Even it may be through purchase order, or it may be a journal, any format, so it will be displayed that particular voucher or information over here. Okay, and in budget accounting entries you can able to view my accounting entry transaction which is posted against that particular main account and department dimensions. So this is the budget accounting entries which has been posted. Okay, now if I do another journal transaction with the same main account combination, okay, let's imagine, let me create another new journal, and let me give the same main account 600 150 other miscellaneous expenses. So let me select the department as finance. Now at here I am giving the amount as 5000. Okay, and let me select my offset account. Okay, so at here I have selected my offset account. Now you can see once I clicked on save, okay, now you can see there is a error message stating that The transaction exceeded the budget available fund, and the dimension is these the dimension set, and the budget is exceeded with 1500 USD. So you can see over here we have received one error message stating that the budget has been exceeded by 1500 USD. Okay. Now if I go to the my actual versus budget, okay, so what is my remaining budget is available? We have 3500 is my remaining budget. Okay. And if I come over here, if I see my transaction is 5000, and if you I reduce my 3500, which is the remaining the budget, that is 1500, which is getting exceeded, so it is giving me and it is blocking my transaction. Okay. Now in this case, what we can do, we will go to the functions, budget check and error message. Okay. Now at here you can click on create budget request. Okay, so once you clicked on create budget request, so what will happen, against to this particular journal batch number reference, it will create one request in the budget control, in the budget register entries. Okay, so let me create budget request. Now you can see the budget transfer request was created successfully. Okay, now let me close this particular error message, and let me go back to the budget accounting entries or budget register entry. For that, budgeting, budget register entries. Okay, now you can see we have one of the voucher as one of the budget accounting entry has been created, and let me open that. You can see this is the 1500 which is getting updated over here. Okay, and the budget type is transfer budget. Okay, so previously we have created the budget with the original budget, now we are creating the transfer budget. Okay, so for transfer budget, mostly we will use when we are transferring the budget from one main account to another main account. Okay, so at here you can see this is the main account, it's having the 1500 we need to make up, and I need to reduce the 1500 from another budget register entries. So you can see at here, let's see for which main account we have the budget. For none of the account having the budget, so let me add another one, P&L, and now let me select 600, 200, and let me update the dimension as sales, marketing, and at here I will update the amount as 1500 in minus. Okay, so why I updated the 1500 in minus, so for this particular combination, the budget available fund is 5000. In this I am reducing the 1500 for that particular month. Okay, now after that we will click on update balance, update budget balance. So what will happen, the budget balance will be posted once I have clicked on update. You can see the operation has been completed. Okay. Uh, so we have given one of the budget accounting entry over here, right? So it is stating that for this particular main account combination, it doesn't have the budget fund. So let us update the budget fund this particular transaction, then we will do that. So let me create another budget accounting entry. So at here I'm doing the revision budget. Okay, let me select financial year 2025 and budget model has adjustment, that is revision budget, adding a new line, and by default the accounting structure and financial dimension date and accounting structure will be auto populated. So at here I'm selecting the dimension and I'm giving 15,000 as expenses. Now let us do our transfer transaction now. So let us click on update balance. Let me click on update. Okay, now our transaction has been successfully completed. The previously why the transaction is not completed has this particular 600 200 main account is there, right? For this particular main account there is no active budget is available. So what we did it, so we have opened a new budget register entry and we have selected our date and the accounting structure, and we have given this particular combination and main account and department combination, and have given the 15,000 as the amount, and have updated the budget register entry. Okay, so post updating that, now I have done this particular transfer transaction. Now this transfer transaction request has been done, and if I go back to the my journal, let me close this error message and let me go a step back, one more step back. Okay, let me open the journal. So this is the journal which we have created, right? So if I go back to the lines, and now you can see if I run my budget check and error message, and if I click on view budget request, okay, the 1500 has been added to the respective budget, so I can post this particular transaction. So if I rerun, if I refresh this particular page and if I click on post button, so it will allow me to post this particular transaction. You can see the transaction has been posted. And also if I go back to the actual versus budget, and if I click on apply parameter, and if I filter with that particular 6 series, main account begin with 6 series, and we can see more in detail, like for example 6 series. So we have added the previously we have 6500 and we have added the 1500 to this particular main account. So 8000 is my actual total revised budget, along with the transfer, original and revision budget, and my expenditure is also same. Okay, so this is the process of budget accounting entries and how we will see in the budget, original budget and transfer budget we have seen it. So tomorrow we will see more in detail, we will see the carry forward budget and as well as the revision budget more in detail about this particular transaction. If you have any doubt you can raise it.
We'll practice today, Gautam, and we'll have the doubts we'll ask tomorrow.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you,
Okay.
Gautam.
Thank you all.
So